The sun hadn't risen yet, but the small town of Aspen was already stirring beneath a thick blanket of snow. Jack Miller, a 12-year-old boy with messy blonde hair and an oversized beanie, quietly slipped out of his home, careful not to wake his parents. He tiptoed past his sleeping dog, grabbed his worn-out skates and stepped into the biting cold. The air was sharp enough to sting his lungs, and every breath formed tiny clouds that quickly dissolved into the dark sky. Jack hopped on his old, squeaky bike, the kind that wobbled slightly with every turn of the pedals, and made his way through the quiet streets. His destination? A frozen lake at the edge of town, where he practiced ice hockey long before anyone else was awake. The lake was like a world of its own, silent, vast, and untouched. The moonlight reflected off its smooth, glassy surface, illuminating a makeshift goal Jack had built from stray branches. As he tied his skates, his fingers trembling from the cold, a thought crossed his mind. Why was he the only one here? His friends, his classmates, even the kids who claimed to love hockey as much as he did, were probably still tucked in their warm beds. But Jack knew why he came. He wasn't just playing hockey, he was preparing for something bigger, something he could feel deep in his bones but couldn't quite put into words. He imagined the roar of a crowd, the clinking of trophies, and his name etched into history. But to get there he had to start now, early while the rest of the world was still asleep. Jack stepped onto the ice and began his drills. The cold bit at his cheeks and his legs ached from endless skating, but he didn't stop. He chased an imaginary puck across the frozen lake, weaving, dodging, and taking precise shots at his makeshift goal. He fell more times than he could count, the ice scraping his knees and hands, but each fall taught him something new. He learned how to keep his balance, how to pivot quickly, and how to push himself even when every muscle screamed for him to stop. By the time the first rays of sunlight peeked over the mountains, Jack had already been practicing for hours. His friends would arrive later, laughing and shouting as they skated lazily across the ice. They didn't notice the faint marks of Jack's skates or the small divots from where he had practiced his shots. And Jack didn't tell them. This was his secret, his edge. This routine continued for years. Every morning Jack was there, falling, learning, growing. His teachers noticed his tired eyes in class and worried about his lack of sleep. His classmates teased him, calling him obsessed. Even his parents occasionally questioned whether he was pushing himself too hard. But Jack didn't care. He had a vision, and he knew that starting early would give him an advantage that no one else could replicate. Years later, Jack's efforts paid off. He became the youngest player ever drafted into the National Hockey League. His reflexes were lightning fast, his precision unmatched, and his ability to read the game made him a force to be reckoned with. During interviews, reporters would ask about his secret, and Jack would smile, thinking back to those cold mornings on the ice. His answer was always the same: I started early when no one else did. Jack's story is more than just an inspiring tale of hard work. It's a powerful reminder of the undeniable advantage that comes with starting early. When you begin before the rest of the world, you're not just preparing for the future. You're building a foundation that others can't compete with. You're creating habits, gaining experience, and learning lessons that will serve you long after others have even begun. Starting early isn't about rushing or overloading yourself. It's about recognizing the value of time and using it wisely. Think about it this way: every hour you invest in your dreams today is an hour no one can take away from you. It's like planting a seed. The earlier you plant it, the longer it has to grow. And while others might wait for the perfect moment, you're already nurturing something that will flourish when the time is right. But let's be honest, starting early isn't easy. It requires discipline, focus, and a willingness to step outside your comfort zone. There will be moments of doubt, times when you question whether it's all worth it. You might feel lonely like Jack did on those icy mornings when the rest of the town was still asleep. But that's the price of greatness. It's in those quiet, unseen moments of effort that real progress happens. Starting early also means embracing failure. When you begin sooner than others, you give yourself more time to make mistakes, and more time to learn from them. Jack didn't become a hockey star overnight. He fell, he stumbled, and he failed more times than he could count. But each failure was a lesson, a stepping stone that brought him closer to his goal. Imagine this: two people decide to learn a new skill. One starts today while the other waits a year for the right time. The one who starts today will have an entire year of experience, mistakes, and growth by the time the other even begins. That's the power of starting early. It's not about being perfect, it's about being persistent. For anyone watching this, think about the dreams or goals you've been putting off. Maybe it's a career change, a hobby you've always wanted to pursue, or a personal project you've been too scared to start. The truth is, there's never a perfect time. There will always be challenges, distractions, and reasons to wait. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't often comes down to one simple thing. They started. When you start early, you gain more than just a head start. You gain resilience, confidence, and a sense of purpose. You learn how to navigate obstacles and adapt to challenges. You develop habits that set you apart from the crowd. And most importantly, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you ever imagined. So what's stopping you? Fear? Uncertainty? The belief that you're not ready? Let me tell you something. No one is ever truly ready. But the act of starting, taking that first step, no matter how small, creates momentum. It opens doors you didn't even know existed. Jack didn't wait for someone to hand him an opportunity. He created his own. He woke up early, faced the cold, and practiced relentlessly, not because he had to, but because he believed in the power of starting before anyone else. That belief shaped his future. And it can shape yours too. As you think about your own journey, remember this. Starting early isn't just an advantage, it's a mindset. It's the willingness to take action when others hesitate, to embrace the discomfort of growth, and to trust that the effort you put in today will pay off tomorrow. Don't wait for the perfect moment because it doesn't exist. The perfect moment is now. Start today, start early, and watch how the world changes for those who dare to begin.